We're gonna try to use all that knowledge we accumulated and write our first program. I think you know this game pretty well. You probably played it when you were a kid. You think of a number between 1 and 10, and then your little friend has to guess the number you're thinking of. And he only gets 3 tries. So I put a description of the game on the left side, and we're gonna try to translate that to uBasic Fort code. So let's start. The first one is a bit tricky. We haven't learned yet how to let the computer select a number, so let's make this a 2-player game and simply let one player type in our secret number. And that is where input comes in. Next, the other player has to guess that number. Again, that's a job for input. Going nicely, we already got 2 lines of valid basic Fort code. Now we get to the conditional part of the game, where the computer has to evaluate the result. And let's use our flowchart for that one. If the guess equals the secret number, then the game stops and the player has won. And then we follow our no branch. If it isn't equal, it could be lower. And if it does, let the computer respond by printing too low. But the program itself continues. But if it doesn't, the only option left is that he gets too high. I mean, if it isn't equal and it isn't lower, what else can it be? So sure, we could test for it, but logic dictates that it would always prove to be true. So, no test, no branch, that's it, we're finished. Now the second guess would be identical to the first one, since the player didn't guess the correct number either. He would always have 1 try left. But that's not true for the third and final guess. Since it's either wrong or right, the game would end anyway, so we have to go that one separately. If he correctly guesses the number, the game ends in the same way as the first 2 tries. But if he doesn't, things are different. The no branch would simply have to state he failed. There's no redemption, so telling him his guess is too high or too low would be absolutely futile. Now this is what we got. A few lines of uBasic code and some flowcharts. Let's try to make a real program there. The first 2 lines are fine, so let's move these to the left. Now let's translate the guess equals secret number. And if that's true, we print a message and end the program. The no branch is, as always, translated to else. That's an easy one. We got another test here. Is the guess less than the secret number? And what do we do if that one is true? We simply print a message. Another no branch, which means another else. And there we print another message. We're doing fine here. Now remember, there has to be an end if for every if we used. So to properly finish this, we have to fly in 2 end ifs, since we got 2 ifs. That's it. So we got that part of the program. Let's put it aside and concentrate on the last guess part of this program. We got the test for equality here, so we translate it to an if statement. And what are we supposed to do here? We're supposed to print a message and end the program. And now for the no branch. That's another else. And that one prints another message and ends the program as well. 1 if, so that's another end if. We're done. So let's put these 2 parts together. We don't need this flowchart anymore. Let's go and test it for real. For the first time. Okay, this is my own environment. I'm using Linux. This editor highlights specific part of the programs like keywords and strings. And in the bottom there's a command line which allows me to run the program. Now let's put this to the test. First, my guess is good anyway, so that works fine. But if I guess too low, it stops right away. And it does the same thing if I guess too high. That's not okay. So let's see what the error is. Second version of the program. You might have noticed I spread the program out a little more. I've also added comments. A comment is used to document your program, and you made any text there you see fit. It starts with a single quote, and it stops automatically at the end of the line, so you don't have to explicitly mark the end of a comment in uBasic Fort. If you want to make a comment which spans several lines, you have to mark each of them with a single quote. I've also corrected the first problem. We asked the user only once to make a guess, so for the second one to work, we have to allow him to make another guess. And yes, you can simply copy that line, that's fine. Now let's run it. Yes, it correctly reports we're too low and asks us to make another guess. Now let's guess too high here. Okay, it stops. We only get 2 guesses, not 3, but we can fix that. We've copied the entire code of the first guess a second time. We already know that these are identical, so that would be fine. Now we put it to the test. Let's make 2 wrong guesses here. Works fine. Let's do something stupid here, and yeah, it reports we failed. Now it seems this one works. It's not perfect, of course, but in the next few lessons we will make some improvements. And that's a wrap. So what have we learned? First of all, don't start writing code straight away. That doesn't even work when you're a seasoned professional. When you're beginning, it's a great idea to split up the problem in discrete steps. And if your discrete step still isn't simple enough to grasp, split it up in even smaller steps. Note in the end you have to be able to reduce it to expressions, variables and comparisons. That's about the proper size. If your discrete steps allows you to translate it to uBasic 4 straight away, don't hesitate, do it. It will all come together in the end. If you have to describe the logic your program will have to follow, use flowcharts. Converting a flowchart into code is very straightforward. If the test is positive, translate it to an if, followed by the comparison and a then. If the test is negative, translate it to a single else. It's so easy, even a dumb computer could do it. Don't try to write a program in one single go. It will probably bomb out on you and you will probably have a hard time to find out why. It's better to write a small part of it, test it and then improve it. And when it runs fine, you write the next part and see if it works. Build it piece by piece and fix problem by problem. The longer you put off testing, the longer it's gonna take you. The golden rule is test early, test often, always keep in control. Don't forget to document your program. That's called commenting. Comments start with a quote and continue till the end of the line. If you want to continue commenting on the next line, you have to start that line with a quote. Finally, cramped programs are hard to read and understand. Maybe everything is crystal clear today. But will that also be true in 5 years? When you've forgotten all about the entire program? Don't be so sure. A fluffy layout is much easier on your eyes and allows you to expose the program structure. Don't do it for me. Do it for the future you. And that's the end of the line, folks.